Hey everyone, happy Friday.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, happy Friday, folks.
Hey.
Bob's running late at a work thingy.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know if he's going to make it at all, actually.
What the hell?
Well, can we call him?
Bob.
Call him for an update.
I have to end no later than 6 because my kids are basically
running wild
downstairs in the house. My wife is not here, so
yeah, it's not quite Lord of the Flies yet, but around 6 o'clock it'll turn.
It gets really dicey.
Bob just got here.
There we go. Oh, hey, Bob.
Yeah. Hi, Bob.
Oh, look, he's talking about black holes or something because his mouth was moving a lot.
Yeah, he's still on a work call, I guess.
So, Steve, we have some things we want to show you.
Oh yeah.
Oh Lord. Already? Okay.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Oh yeah.
You want that second one first, Evan?
Me? Oh, I'm calling the shots. Sure.
You call the shots.
Cue it up, Ian.
Okay.
What?
Cue it up. Okay. So we're
cool.
What's going on here?
Pre-show, we were talking about who the most prolific writer is, according to Guinness Book of World Records. Anybody in the chat want to guess?
I mean, Stephen King is super ridiculously prolific.
Mm-hmm. But according to the Guinness Book, in theory, I've checked it in one source, so I don't hold me to it. But anybody in the chat?
Let's see.
Give him a second to catch up. Yeah.
Skepticism says God. God's pretty prolific. I don't know. It's got a good agent, that's for sure.
Asimov had a lot of books under his
Asimov, Patterson.
Oh, somebody got it.
Oh, several people got it. Well, at least
somebody got it.
L. Ron Hubbard.
L. Frickin' Ron Hubbard.
Now,
now it's debatable because he published 1,000 books under his name because he didn't really, I think edit them at all. So they're self-published. So, but we got to talking and they brought up Dianetics commercials from the 70s, which I don't think I've ever seen.
Ooh, so we're gonna have a little watch party.
I've seen those.
A couple. I think we have 2 of them queued up, if I'm not mistaken.
The volcano.
Let's see.
Don't give it away, Steve. No spoiler. Wow. Where it said during an operation harm you later, page 182. Is it possible to increase intelligence? Yes, you roll a D6 modifier.
Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard. Buy your copy at B. Dalton's. Walden Books, or wherever they...
Okay, that one's just the commercial. Hold on, let's do this one and do the other. There's that other tab. I grabbed the wrong one. Let's find another funnier one. Not this one. Here we go. Let's see what this one is. There we go.
I actually remember
Something's supposed to be
seeing.
happening.
I remember seeing this one, and yes,
So
it's coming.
Does it not pull up? Oh, I'm stupid. I was watching it. I was
You were.
enthralled. Sorry.
Oh wow!
Life becomes a battleground.
Yeah.
Your mind is your best weapon. What keeps you from using your mind's potential? What causes unexplained fears and pain? Shattered relationships, lost opportunities? Does it sometimes seem that there's a hidden enemy working against you? There is. It's called the reactive mind.
Oh,
It
no.
works against you in life, preventing you from using your full intelligence and ability.
Really?
The reactive mind is the source of all of your unwanted emotions, self-doubt, and nightmares.
Right.
There's only one way to get rid of it.
What way?
Overacting.
By paying us $50,000.
It has the volcano.
Wow, a volcano.
Read it, use it, and learn how to free your full potential. Dianetics. Get your copy now, wherever paperbacks are sold. Or
Don't call that number.
1-800-213-8700.
All right. Anyway, so there's that.
Yeah.
You know, 1 out of 1,000 books isn't bad for popping off, I guess, right? Bestseller.
Gosh, I remember those
Okay.
Dianetics commercials. They were plastered all over
Oh yeah, they were everywhere.
airwave
Man.
television back in the day.
Yep.
I seem to have a recollection of my life in the 70s. You know, just having seen those, probably late 70s, but more, you know, certainly it was more of an 80s and 90s common phenomenon when, you know, their budgets increased for for television advertising at the time.
I would love to know how much money he made writing that book. You know, that he probably made a ton of money.
Yeah.
Fleeced a lot of people.
Yeah, just the book itself, and then all the other ancillary stuff that, or the gates that opened to money for him as a result of somebody
Yeah,
buying
cults
that
can be
book.
very
Oh
profitable.
my gosh,
Yeah.
huge,
Yeah, hell yeah.
huge. Why don't we start one?
If
Because
only.
we haven't.
God, I mean, just
Oh
with
gosh, could you imagine?
we would come up with the best pseudoscientific, you know, what would you call them, Steve? Modalities? What would we call those?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Steve,
No,
wants
we
nothing
would
to do
come up
this
with
concept or idea.
the best
Toy.
pseudoscience to sell people because we
Yeah.
know where the sweet spots are.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. We could turn into con men, con people, con women easily, utilizing what we know, just from what we've learned through our activity of skepticism. No, I have no doubt about that. It's scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is scary. I mean, the earning potential is huge. You know, we could do it and then turn that money into good. You know?
Yeah, well, we've talked about that too.
I know,
you
right? Steve will never
And
go for it.
yeah, that's kind of where we
Doesn't
run into
work.
those. what's
Somebody
called
hit the mark,
ethical
man.
roadblocks. Yeah.
Meatball cult. I will be the patron of a meatball cult. And the whole idea behind it is I just want to try to have sex with women. Because
Give
that's
me all your
also-
money and,
and-
get to
and
have sex
brand
with
them.
other women. That's every cult.
And I got to brand them too. Yeah.
That's yeah.
Everything else is
Meatball.
window dressing,
Meatball.
right?
Right. Literally.
The essence of
But-
all cults are sex and money.
Yeah, just
Speaking of
ask
which,
Reverend Sun
we
Young
just-
Moon. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yes. Speaking of which, we just released actually a TikTok on a cult,
Sort of, yeah.
the Nexium, sort of, yeah, the Nexium cult. But go check it out if you haven't us already.
Join the Nexium cult. Got it. Let me write
No,
that
don't
down.
do it. They're
Okay.
they're disbanded.
Oh shoot, I'm late. Too late.
Yeah, leader's already in jail.
But what about Heaven's Gate? That's still around, right? I can do that one.
Oh,
Oh, too soon.
is that every 65 years?
Every five. No, that comment only comes around every 5,000 years. I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
That-
never
Hell
mind.
Bob?
Yeah.
Not the
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
Hail
Hail
Bob.
Hell, Bob.
5,000
Hell
years.
Bob. Bob loves that one.
That was
Hail Bob.
so that was 1997. So is that 20? How many years ago is that? Quick math. 25 years ago, 26 years ago. Hail Bob.
Yeah.
Wow.
What was the Kool-Aid cult? What was that called?
Jones, the Jim Jones
Jonestown?
is.
Yeah, but there was a name for the cult, though.
Heaven's
Oh,
Gate.
he
Oh,
was the.
Heaven's
Not Heaven's Gate.
No, Heaven's Gate was the sneakers and the Hail Bob.
Yeah.
But the Kool-Aid, which wasn't Kool-Aid, by the way.
Yeah, it wasn't Kool-Aid.
it was
a generic
People's Temple agricultural
People's Temple.
product.
The
People's Temple.
People's Temple.
Jonestown, James Jones. Oh my
I
gosh!
don't think
Still,
I even knew that name.
I will stop if there's if somewhere pops up for some reason, either YouTube or somewhere, something about Jonestown. I'll pause and I'll.
Oh, and it
I'll
was
take a
Flavor
listen.
Aid, not Kool-Aid.
Thank you. Right.
Yeah, it was like a generic knockoff.
Right.
Flavor
Kool-Aid,
Aid.
of course.
I think we should
You
start the
won't even
movement
get
to
the good
correct
stuff.
that. And anytime, don't
Yeah,
drink the
well, he
Kool-Aid.
really drank the
Flavor
Flavor
Aid. Yeah.
I never could
Yeah.
understand. I still don't today. I can't really wrap my head around the idea of somebody like talking to me and selling me into, like, virtually when you join a cult, what you're kind of saying to yourself and is that you're admitting that you have run your entire life the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like because you're abandoning the normal operating procedure of your life and saying that the cult is going to feed you the new way to think and feel.
Well, I think they break you down to that point of having those kinds of ultimate feelings. I gotta go. Dogs are barking. Pause here.
Okay, go ahead. We'll
Feet
pick
hurt?
up.
Well,
Feet hurt.
they prey on people who are vulnerable to begin with. It's not like you're starting off as a totally put together person,
Yeah.
And then the cult breaks you down. I mean, that can happen, but they just go for the low hanging fruit,
Yeah, I mean,
vulnerable people to begin with, and then they
Vulnerable,
tear
yeah.
them down to the point where that's it. They're going to build them back up and redefine them in their own way. It's horrid. It's it's a form,
Yeah.
Gosh, it's just awful with awful results. Always,
yeah.
never good.
Yeah, and I guess, with pseudoscience, I mean, certain people are just completely in the mindset to fall for it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure.
I don't know if there's any way to I don't know if there's any way to make it, to rationalize it, like what is it? What is it about people? I mean, it all comes down to neurology at one point.
Mm-hmm.
I just
mean, there's research on it. I mean, there's definitely personality types that are statistically correlate with vulnerability to belief in pseudoscience, to following cults, to being religious, etc. It's always hard to know with the direction of the cause and effect, though. But certainly, being skeptical, being analytical, when you're thinking, is definitely protective. Metacognition is definitely helpful, critical thinking. People who are more intuitive and emotional, are more vulnerable to cults like that because they can be manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Well, that's what skepticism, if skepticism like shields you from anything, I think it would be falling for a cult, right? Because there's just too many red flags. There's way too many things that skepticism would throw a red flag up for that to happen. It could never happen to me. It could never, in a million years, there's just no way I would fall for any cult of any kind.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying about that. In that, it's I wonder how many people who do wind up falling victim to cults ultimately sort of start with that same sort of, feeling like for some reason they feel invulnerable to it. I think to a degree, everybody's always vulnerable to scams and all sorts of stuff. We don't have any, anything that inoculates us 100%. So I think your chances are practically zero for all intents and purposes. But
I mean, at this point,
yeah.
We've evaluated so many belief systems and cults and everything. I don't think there's an entry point,
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, you do have to recognize that people get in it by steps, and they don't necessarily recognize. Not like they say, "I'm going to join this crazy cult." They, it's deliberately designed to bring people in stage by stage.
Yeah.
Right. Just like with the Dianetics crap, right? No, it's just a self-help book, at the most superficial level. And then they talk about the reactive mind. They don't come out and say the reactive mind, by the way, are parasitic alien ghosts.
Yeah.
Of course, right.
Yeah,
You have to wait
understood.
till you've handed over everything about yourself, including all your,
I get
material
that
possessions, until you get that revelation.
it's the slow approach, I think, is very effective. It's
Yeah.
probably one of the strongest tools that they use. If they can really meter how slowly that you're moved from point A to point B. Some people, I think, would be able to fall into a cult amazingly fast. But I don't go for charismatic, like, leader type people. I'm not attracted in any way or feel like I default to believing them in any way. Like, I've kind of expunged that, and I just don't. Anybody that speaks with authority, I immediately question them in my head.
Mm-hmm.
That's what skepticism has taught me.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is something that, I think I've deliberately kind of programmed myself to be wary of.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Ron DeSantis. That's why that guy, like, I can't like look at him and not think cult leader. He seems like a cult leader to me. He's got that vibe.
Well, all politicians do to some degree. Successful
so.
ones,
Yeah, but there's a difference. Like, I don't get that. I don't get.
Yeah, there's a difference of magnitude, definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in politics that don't give me the cult vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I get the charisma. I mean, charisma is insanely valuable to a politician. I get that, and I agree.
But charisma is also context dependent, and it completely depends on whether or not you perceive somebody as being part of your group or not part of your group, right?
Yeah.
You see, if somebody who's part of your in group, whatever that is, your religion, your belief system, your political party, then if they're like a charismatic speaker, that actually changes the way your brain processes information. You're actually less critical thinking about what they have to say.
Mm-hmm.
But not if they're perceived as being part of an out group. So like you and I may look at Ron DeSantis and we see a con man, just like we look at Trump. I see Trump, I listen to him speak and I just hear con man,
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to imagine somebody listening to him and not thinking that. But when you perceive him as being on your side, as part of your group, as supporting your tribe, you process everything that he says differently.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, yeah.
Although it's
Sounds
just
like
so
gospel,
stark.
right?
Yeah, I can intellectually understand it. I cannot really wrap my head around it because he's such an extreme example.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's why people could be so divisive, right? Because you listen to them with different ears, right? Some people listen to them and hear a glorious leader, and like other people hear, this guy's an effing moron,
Right. But we need to overall be more skeptical of politicians. There's not enough of it. They can always use more, and I think it goes hand in hand and directly proportional to the amount of power that they have over all of us. That that we grant them through the rules of law, but it's for they've known forever that the people who have to govern other people are always subject to all sorts of things, corruption and mistrust and everything else. So therefore, you just can't let your guard down with any of them at any time. That highest level of responsibility deserves the highest level of scrutiny. In my opinion, I don't think you can have enough scrutiny with them, and some people, unfortunately, I also think get away with it with less scrutiny, and undeservingly so. They need more scrutiny.
I mean,
not just scrutiny, but also just the standards, right? So clearly, a lot of people who voted for Trump thought that they were willing to make that bargain. That it's like, okay, maybe the guy is a bit shifty, his morals are a bit loose, whatever, but at least he's on my side.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
for president of the United States, you can't make that bargain. No matter how much the guy supports your ideology, we also need a sense of personal responsibility and ethics and morals in a president. And Trump, I think, illustrated in very stark manner why that's true. I mean, he attempted to topple our democracy, nothing less than that, and is still doing it. And that's what you get when you put somebody like that in power. He's not the kind of person that can be trusted with power, no matter what his ideology is.
Yeah.
But it's hard to look at a politician or a leader like that and make that, if they are on your side, if they're part of your tribe, and say, well, he's ideologically aligned with me, but I cannot support him because of his personal attributes.
Mm-hmm.
I respect it when people can do that. We should do that. I think American politics used to be that way, that the majority of people, there was a floor, like no matter what side you were on, if you dropped too far, people would not put up with it.
Mm-hmm.
It would be political death. Now there does not appear to be any floor in American politics.
So true, Steve. So freaking true.
Right? As long as you're on your side, doesn't matter what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's destructive to democracy. It's not sustainable.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've come to have very strong feelings about the idea that we have to have an incredibly high bar for every single politician, and no matter who. And this is where being a skeptic has paid off in flying colors for me. I hold them all to the same standard. I don't give a shit what party they belong to. I don't care about anything. I don't care. They have such a huge responsibility, like Evan was saying, that they have to be above the water line that I've determined in my head. And if they don't, then I'll be critical of anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also, and we can't fawn for them either. It's getting back to sort of the cult aspect, and loving any sort of politician. That to me is anything I'll never understand. I've never loved a politician. I've never been in awe or enthralled by them.
I mean, there are some politicians that I respect. I think, that's a smart person who's trying to genuinely do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Not many of them, but there are some people like that I see in politics.
Yeah, they're the minority. But yeah, I don't.
Most are, they're a little shady in my opinion.
They had to have been to sort of achieve, in a way to sort of get the job.
Yeah.
It's kind of just dirty
it's
business.
Almost like you'd want, we'd want them. Wouldn't it be great if there was like some type of entry exam / thing that people had to go through in order to even run for president? You have to meet certain standards. I know that this is a slippery slope because it would be very hard and complicated to come up with whatever that criteria is. But I mean, I wish there was like a board that would either approve or reject. Like, imagine that. Imagine if like there was an ethics board where you had to like prove certain things about who you are and what you believe in order to run to be a politician.
Well,
it's unconstitutional, so it's never going to happen.
Right? Yeah, that won't happen.
No, but it's just an idea. The idea is like given
technically
to come to that would be some kind of voluntary standard.
Yes.
Where like there are certain norms that do evolve. Although, of course, Trump proved that it's easy to just ignore those norms or just violate them. But if, what may not be legally required for a president to do certain things, but it becomes expected. Like, for example, releasing your tax returns.
Mm-hmm.
For 60 years or whatever it was, I think since Nixon, it was standard procedure for presidents, people running for president, to release like the last 5 years of their tax returns to say, look, I'm not a crook, I'm above board. And Trump just didn't do it. And he got away with it.
Yeah.
You know,
And he flat out lied,
which destroys the norm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it does. It changes our reality. It really does. Like, and he did that in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and again, like, it's more of, this isn't about Trump. This is about preventing what we learned, right? There was so much stuff that was learned in the last 8 years of politics in the US. Like it's as if the country had never been through a problem before. It's just weird. But there was so many things that happened and so much that we've learned. Like, we really need to future-proof this level of insanity. We have to make it so this can't happen again somehow. And it's just not going to happen with our political system. It's so, you know, it's an impossible thing to pull off with the way
it isn't
the country
impossible. I mean, there are some very specific things that we could do that would improve the situation significantly. I do think we need to get rid of the Electoral College. You know, if having just the presidency alone, there's already state representation in the Senate. That's enough. You know, it's popular representation in the House of Representatives. But I think president should just be a straight up popular vote. If that were the case, it would move the president to the middle, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I agree.
You couldn't pull off any kind of electoral hat trick where you get some extreme idiot in there just because of the electoral math. You know, you have to appeal to a majority of Americans. You know,
Right.
Trump would never get elected under that situation.
But
Get rid of gerrymandering.
Yeah.
Get rid of gerrymandering, because that also allows extreme individuals to win. And I think we need some kind, at least for the primaries, some kind of ranked choice voting, which again allows for better choice making among the voters. We get to it gives third-party candidates a chance. They're not automatically just a spoiler, and it also prevents that 30% from winning or 40% just because the vote is otherwise split, even though it's like everyone's else's last choice. You know,
has a third party candidate been elected yet in a ranked choice election?
Well, they only exist now in, like, I think a few states primaries.
Yeah.
How did I was following the Alaska election where there was ranked choice voting. I think that's what happened there, is that the
Democrat won the House and the Republican
Democrat won the House
Senate.
and pretty much would not have won if it were not for ranked choice voting. Right?
Yeah. No, but I mean, you specifically said about the third party. I don't know that we have enough information yet to know whether it's helping third parties or not, frankly.
Well, but just let's, like, if we look at the national level, look at the 2016 election, right? I mean, Jill Stein, if her votes all went to Hillary Clinton would have beaten Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's
so
the spoiler you mentioned. Yep.
Yeah. So what happened in 2020 is that the Green Party and the Libertarian Party didn't run candidates because nobody wanted to risk being
a Libertarian
the
ran a candidate. Yeah.
What's that?
Libertarian ran a candidate, but it didn't have enough of an impact. It was a very.
I mean, they were nowhere.
Yeah.
I guess
off
they
the
were
radar.
Yeah. I didn't even see a Green Party candidate. You know, nobody wanted to be the spoiler. You know, in that election, no significant. I mean, there's always multiple candidates, but like there was no significant. You know, anybody garnering enough votes to even potentially change who won.
No,
whereas in 2016 it did. Yeah. But if we had ranked choice voting in 2016 in the general election, first of all, the thing is, people would feel free to vote for the third party candidate because they could put if you could vote for Jill Stein 1, put in Hillary Clinton 2, and then Trump 3 or nobody after that. And that way your vote automatically then goes to the candidate that's more likely to win. So you're not throwing your vote away, right? Because most people don't vote for those third-party candidates because you're literally throwing your vote away. Because with the Electoral College and the way it works, like, there's no hope. You know, there was no hope of like a Green Party candidate winning.
Yeah.
So it really and not only does it lock in the two-party system, it tends to drive them to the extremes, which is not good.
Yep.
So most people are unhappy at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah. Equal
which
misery.
is not what we want. You know, we want the candidate who has the greatest appeal to the greatest number of people. You know.
Yes. I also know that's not going to happen. not for the.
Not
for the president. Not for the presidential election, because the states would not give up that influence. They you know, and this actually dates back to, oh gosh, what, the founding, right? Back in the 1700s.
Which one?
The
Electoral
original, the Constitutional Convention, or Second Constitutional Convention.
Yeah. But there was a huge debate back then, by the way. This
was not this. You know, this wasn't forgotten or not discussed or anything. It's there. They talked about how best to elect the executive of the country.
Yeah, but I think the most of the founding fathers did not want the even the Senate to be, you know, proportion to the states or the Electoral College, but the smaller states, the smaller population states, basically insisted. Like,
right, otherwise they would not have joined the union.
Yeah, that was their basically demand for joining the union, was they need more representation.
Right.
And
the Rhode Islands and, you know.
Yeah.
Delaware, among some others. Yeah, absolutely. So the point is,
it's just not working anymore.
That there's a reason why the Electoral College exists. It's not just it's some bad idea someone threw together and
there absolutely
was a compromise. It's a compromise. Yeah, and
not working anymore.
Well, yeah, but you know, you'd have to amend the Constitution at this point to change that. And
either you amend the Constitution.
2/3 of states go on that route.
You either amend the Constitution, or a majority of states need to sign a pact that they will apportion their electoral votes to the winner of the popular vote.
And some states have done that already.
Yeah, we're about
15 or something.
No, it's way more than that. We're at like about 40%, where we need 50%. But again, getting that last 10% or so is going to be hard. You know, we would have to go through a generation where you know, the political majorities were such that it were possible. Because you know, the small population states have no incentive to give up their disproportionate representation, basically their disproportionate power.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. They would otherwise not be part of this union. So there's that.
Yeah. The voters just enough people just have to demand it. You know, it just has to become a thing.
Can we click over to a weird video that Ian wants to show us?
Another?
Okay, good segue. Yeah, sure. This is another one. You know, to change topics. Let's see if we can get this. Another 70s style advertisement. I don't know if I can zoom in. That should help a little bit. Here we go.
There's too much water in that kettle. And now the lid's on crooked. And that means disaster for this lady. Because she is on a boat. Don't boil a kettle.
Don't boil a kettle on a boat. Anybody remember that PSA?
No.
So
probably was.
I don't know.
That's important to know.
English thing than a...
Yeah, when you're on a boat and you're boiling water in a kettle, make sure the top isn't cockeyed. So that's a lifesaver right there.
Yeah. Life hack. Oh boy.
Yep.
I know that comes up all the time.
That's why the internet is so good. You know, like it's weird stuff like that just.
And that was the days before Hollywood effects and stuff. So someone
blew up a model.
Well, I don't know if it was a model. Or just took an old boat, threw it out there, and blew the damn thing up in order to make that point. Oh gosh.
Yeah. I love it.
If you take a bath with your toaster plugged in and you stick a fork in it, you might get an electrical shock.
Yes, especially if on a boat.
Yeah.
Oh, even worse.
I love some of those PSAs from like the 50s and 60s. They're amazing.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah.
What a time.
We were watching. Where did we see that? We were watching a British one that about power lines,
Mm-hmm.
and in the PSA, they show like a 10-year-old kid getting electrocuted to death on a power line.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Uh-huh.
Like, don't be like Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
This
little
is
brutal.
Johnny.
Yeah,
He's
it's a little
about to
brutal
die.
for a PSA.
Watch. Oh gosh. Drives the point home, I suppose.
That was in the scared straight era.
Yeah, remember that crap?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, which doesn't work. It's not effective.
It certainly seemed like it would work back when I was a kid watching it, because it was intimidating, you know.
Well, that's the idea, and it's one of those things that makes superficial intuitive sense, but just happens to be wrong.
Mhm.
That the whole scared straight approach, you know, unequivocally doesn't work. You know, it's
Yeah.
been studied now for decades. But what's funny is that it's so in the public consciousness. Like, it's just the go-to. It still exists in so many different forms. I remember, you know, when my older daughter was in grade school, they did this thing where they took them to like the emergency room to show them trauma victims or something, you know, like to warn them about like not looking both ways before they go into the street or something. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And you know, she has anxiety disorder. She had a full-blown panic attack
Oh my
from
gosh.
that. Like, what are you doing to these kids? You're bringing them into the emergency room and scaring them with, you know, it's not even effective.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's why we have science, you know. Science can
Mhm.
answer questions like, is it effective?
Right. No, it's much better to do what's called social norming, which is you give examples of how the desirable behavior is the popular behavior. Because most people generally do like the common sense thing, right? Most people don't do crazy, dangerous shit.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right,
so you
'cause-
say,
yeah.
you know, most
They-
people
they-
don't drive drunk. Yeah, most people are smart enough not to get into a car if they've been drinking too much.
Yeah.
That's more effective than look at this horrible accident from somebody who was drinking and driving, which we just don't connect to that, you know? Again, it's counterintuitive, but it's for some reason, that's the way our brains work.
Steve, what do you think about the whole sentiment where people say, we didn't evolve to eat food like this, or we didn't evolve to live in a society where it's so complicated, and you know that whole idea that like you know the human being, mind and body are not equipped to deal with modern life. I mean, what do you think about all that?
190,000 years of, you know, toughing it out on the plains and whatever, and then boom, all of a sudden in a blip of time, we've got more technology and we know what to do with.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be very. It's not a completely ridiculous line of argument, but you have to be very careful because it's so easy to weave them into what we call the just so stories.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where like it's a simplistic moral parable about, you know, how we evolved. But you know, the thing is, our primary evolutionary adaptation is, you know, versatility. It's being adaptive. It's, you know what I mean? We have the intelligence to adapt to situations. And a lot of times it basically is a non sequitur. It's like, yeah, we didn't evolve to play the piano either.
Yeah.
But we happen to have the skill, you know, the skills to do it. It's an epiphenomenon. Like all
epiphenomenon.
In a way is like an epiphenomenon. So it's sometimes it's like not necessarily true, and other times like, well, even if it is true, so what? You know, if you're talking about behavior stuff, I do think where it is most useful is in, you know, psychologically speaking, when extreme situations develop in order to exploit are behavioral algorithms. Like you could think about gambling. Gambling is like a hack into the human tendency to seek out rewards, and in fact, like the slot machines are programmed to give rewards at the optimal frequency to maximize that reward stimulus and reinforce the behavior. So,
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, we evolved certain behavioral algorithms and they could be exploited, Or I know a lot of people bring up like pornography sort of developed not to, portray like an average typical person, but, to maximally stimulate, our evolved sensibilities,
Right.
and that can have unintended consequences, etc.
But what about like the overload thing?
The
Is there
super
anything?
sense thing.
Well, is there anything to like the fact that we live in a very complicated reality? Like even compared to 50 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
Lives and I think most people do lead, very complicated, busy lives. Is there anything to the idea that we didn't evolve to do X?
Well, but what do you mean by X?
All right, so to be specific, dealing with the complexities of being a modern person.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it depends on what was the environmental milieu that we were living in previously, right? So we don't really know. We can infer by looking at modern hunter-gatherers, right? And say, well, how similar, we assume that like our ancestors lived similarly to modern hunter-gatherers, which is a problematic assumption. But let's say if we just forget that for a minute and just say, what if that is close enough? It's not like they don't have a lot of complexity to their lives as well. It's different than like a technological world, but they may know hundreds of plants and animals in their environment that they have to keep close track of in order to just eke out a survival. And they have to have sometimes pretty extreme skills, in terms of like tracking and whatever. So that's they are just as smart as we are.
Yeah, of course.
Right, they're the same brain.
Yeah,
it's
but
adapted to it. It's just dealing with a different environment and a different set of variables. So, just because technological civilization's different doesn't mean that our brains aren't equipped to deal with it. Like those differences may be superficial, when it comes to sort of neurological function. We may be pushing the limits of what we could do, because there's 8 billion people in the world and we're trying to, and it's very competitive. I think, that's definitely a thing, like there's just way more intense competition. You have 8 billion people who in some way are able to compete with each other. Like, the Olympics, for example, I'm not saying everyone has access to, theoretically has the ability to work their way up and to get into the Olympics, but a lot of the people on the planet could potentially be in the Olympics. Think about how extreme that it's like the way far end of the bell curve. Right?
Yeah.
So that sort of thing's going on. So, but it's got to just be extremely careful about making any simplistic, just so evolutionary arguments, because it's also hyper adaptationalist, meaning that this is why I brought up the piano thing. It's like if we have the ability to do something, that means we specifically evolved that ability. It's like, no, we didn't. We evolved a lot of generic abilities that could then be applied to a lot of different things, and we're applying them now, to the situation that we find ourselves in.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is because, I've read many times and heard a lot of people talk about the idea that the pandemic, emotionally, mental health wise, hurt a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking like about how funny that it is, or strange that is, because in a lot of cases, people were like at home and there was a lot of stress that wasn't happening that
Yeah.
they normally would be experiencing. But there was something about the pandemic and something about that situation that was damaging.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking like how, you know, why are humans not equipped to deal with that? What
So I
was
think,
it?
all right. So I think that was different because, you know, I've been mainly talking about our intellectual ability, and that I think refers more to our emotional ability. So, like for example, people are, you know, we are a social species, and there's a certain amount of social interaction that is almost necessary for psychological health.
Mhm.
And if people were extremely isolated during the pandemic, that may have been outside of our emotional comfort zone. You know,
Yeah.
that could have been very stressful for us. So yeah, I think we may put a lot of psychological stress on ourselves, and because of culture that may not be optimal, you know, for our emotional makeup. I know, like I've read there's some pediatricians who think that like forcing babies to sleep in a room by themselves and then like not responding when they cry is like, think about what you're doing. It's like you know, that would never happen prior to modern society.
Mhm.
Like children would of course been with the parents, and you know, of course they're afraid of the dark and whatever. And imagine, so as an infant waking up alone in the dark, like they're supposed to be afraid
Yeah.
of that
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
And so we're like putting them in a situation that is almost designed to trigger their fear and make them cry, you know.
Is that the Skinner box or something?
Not a Skinner box. I call it the Monroe box.
After 30 years, I predict the child will be maladjusted.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was like year one Simpsons.
Yeah, that was
they were
funny.
they were
That was
killing
the
it back
Monroe
then.
box.
The
Skinner
Monroe
box. Was a real
box.
thing,
That's
right.
right.
Yeah.
I call it the Monroe box. I need the $100,000 so I could buy a baby and put it in there. After 30 years, my prediction is that it'll be maladjusted. So good.
Right.
It's interesting. We are fantastically complicated
Yeah.
beings. You know, like
Hell
there's just
yeah.
so much going on with our biology. You know, in our minds, it's
Mhm.
And we're
That's
also
why-
fragile at the same time.
We are
It's
super
It's a
fragile,
remarkable
you know?
thing. It really is.
I'll be curious. I'm very curious about, and I'll never
The
live to see
novella
it.
box. Someone said.
Yeah, right.
It's full of meatballs.
I wonder.
Jay never comes
It'll
out.
be well adjusted.
I-
Jay
I-
adjusted.
I wonder what will happen to human psychology
Oh, gosh.
if people could live for 500 years or 1,000
Yeah.
years.
Like,
Yeah,
we'll have to
that's
find
that's
out.
always been my question.
Yeah, is that
is
interesting?
How
there-
could a 500-year-old person relate to a 50-year-old person in a society?
Or do you
it's
plateau at some
incredible.
point?
You could only hypothesize about that.
Yeah.
Ever.
I need to put on the lights behind me. Hang on.
All right. Oh, that's better.
I have found two somewhat
There
bizarre
are, I believe,
PSAs.
there's a few new things in my background.
Ooh.
Oh,
Easter
I
eggs.
spy.
I spy with
with
my little
thieves.
eye. What's new in the background for those of you who
Oh,
are
let me full
regular
screen you first.
watchers?
Is that for the
Here we go.
watchers or for
Just
all
from
of
the
us?
live stream 2 weeks ago? There's at least two things in the background that were not in there 2 weeks ago.
Was the skull
Paying
there?
attention.
The skull was
The
there.
skull was there. Yeah, Scully. It's hard to make it. Yeah, is that a helmet or something? No.
So that was there 2 weeks ago, but that's new about a month ago.
Is that like the
Centurion helmet?
or the Spartan helmet or what?
And then that glass vase. That's not new.
Is that what that is?
That was there 2 weeks ago. I can get it. So I partially made that. Joss and I went to a glass blowing thing. Jay and his wife bought that for us for like a Christmas present. So we went like a month ago, and it's a glass blowing place. They have a kiln and everything, and they basically walk you through making you have like a choice of a dozen different things. They're doing all the hard part, right? I mean, they're doing the stuff that requires actual skill. It's actually what's interesting is like glass blowing really is a 2-person job, and so you're basically their assistant, when you're doing it, but you do get to participate in the creation. But you make all the creative decisions about what color do you want, how do you want to mix it? Do you want it all the way through or just on the bottom or whatever? So, it was really, really fun. But that's not one of the 2 things.
Oh, okay. But I have a question before we get off. Is it functional?
Yeah. Let me get it.
Yeah, actually, like Steve and his wife Joss showed me what they made, and they're gorgeous.
There you are.
So, Steve, if it's functional, it's not art by definition.
Yeah, that's right.
Inside joke, sort of.
So it's cobalt blue with just white accents on the bottom.
I do like cobalt blue. I like cad
like
blue too.
With a little vase. My wife made a drinking glass, and she loves it. It's actually really, really pretty. It's her favorite glass now.
Oh yeah,
if you're looking for something to do that's a little bit offbeat, if there's a place near you that does this, it's fun.
So okay, so we got to find the other thing though.
Well, that's not one of them. There's 2 other things.
Oh, there's 2 other things.
This is from like a month ago, but there are 2 things that are new from the last live stream 2 weeks ago.
Ooh.
It's not apparent to me. I see the Saurian brandy. That's been there forever.
That's been there for a while.
The Centurion helmet or whatever it was upon. Oh, that
Saurian brandy bottle.
The Saurian brandy.
Give me the brandy.
Couple months. Yeah, the helmet's from about a month ago, from our Saturnalia party we had. That was in the end of January, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll tell you one of them.
Okay, you're gonna have
shades?
to. Is it off camera?
That picture was not there 2 weeks ago.
But that picture's been in your house. So
it's been in my house.
Yeah.
It's just never been in this shop before.
Oh, interesting. I was looking for something. Okay, because
so you may have recognized that, but it was not.
I recognized
that.
Somebody said Steve's wearing pants this week.
And then the other thing is
this microphone.
That's
statue.
Nope, the statue in front of it. That's a Remington. It's a bronze. It's like a Western themed bronze.
Okay.
You guys familiar with the Remington bronzes?
Sure.
Yeah, they're
I know.
You've seen them everywhere, right? Because they like
cowboy, right?
Yeah.
It's
like every rich person's house on TV has one. You know what I mean? It's like one standard thing. They exist in the White House. I'm sure there's a couple of them. You've seen them in the background of a lot of places. That's a replica. It's not an original.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good replica. It's actually worth a little bit of coin, but it's not a lot. The originals are worth, and when I say original, I don't mean like an original. It was a one. Like they might have done a run of 1,000 or something or whatever, but it was like the first run by the artist, by Remington himself. Those are worth, 60, 70, 80,000.
Yeah.
Not that one.
Go to tag sales, try to find one.
Yeah. So my parents bought that 30 years ago. They bought a bunch of them, so we each ended up with one, but they bought
nice.
Yeah. They had no idea,
Well,
so they thought that they were real. They didn't know that they were replicas. And so
they thought they were real. Wait a minute. Wait. Did they? They didn't pay like an art dealer price.
No, they paid a reasonable price, but they just didn't understand what it was that they were getting.
Okay, all right.
And then,
okay.
Yeah, they weren't ripped off.
Yeah, but they just thought they were getting something.
They just thought they were getting something more than what it was.
Right. So Jay's blaster, Han Solo blaster, is not from a movie, or something. Right? But it's still a quality.
Oddly, it's arguably even better than the ones used in the movie because it was made better. Yeah.
Right. So here's the big way. I did the research to find out what these were and what they were worth. Mm-hmm. The big thing is this has a base, so it's on like the bronze statue's on like a little base.
Yeah.
If it's on a base, it's not real.
Oh, this is like Antique Roadshow stuff. Good.
Yeah, it is.
Cool.
Yeah, if the real ones are not on, don't have a base. That's like your first pass. Like most of the time, right there, you could tell if it's real or not. But a good replica still could be, it's still a valuable piece. It's just not like it's an order of magnitude less so than the real ones. But they are pretty. I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, whoever the artwork is wonderful. Like the original idea of it.
And once you now that you know what that is, if you weren't familiar previously, you will see them everywhere.
That's it. It's the bias of recent sighting, which we talk about maybe on
Somebody wants
tomorrow's
another
podcast.
close-up, Steve.
Of that statue?
But Ian,
Well,
you
the
could
glass
probably find the picture of it on.
Here's the
Cheers.
There, I can't. It's really heavy. I don't want to go over there and lift it up. I could move the plant out of the way a little bit, I guess.
I can find. I was looking for a statue, but hold on, let me find it. Oh Lord! There you go.
There we go.
It's still like you can't see what the hell it is.
Oh god, is it almost 6 already? What the heck?
Yeah, it blew by.
It's
big time.
almost 6.
I tell you, we get talking, we get yammering, and before you know it,
Forget it. I know. That's why we could do. I mean, think about it. This felt like nothing.
well,
That's why we could do these 6-hour live streams because we are all
We talked about nothing for an hour.
blabbermouths.
Yeah.
We just keep going.
What about that 6-hour live stream, Jay?
Thank you for asking, Evan. I don't have the date memorized. Steve, you
I
know
do.
What is it?
Ooh, May 20.
May 20th.
Saturday,
Okay.
May 20. Mark your calendars right now, my friends.
Yeah, Saturday, May 20th. We're gonna do a 6-hour live stream. The first hour is for patrons, and it's
That's
patron
it.
only.
Patrons.
Patron only.
You.
So if you're interested in getting in on that, you have to become a patron, and then I'm not going to talk about what we're going to talk about.
Nope, and it won't go anywhere else either.
No.
That will be exclusive paid.
Yeah, that's exclusive.
There was suggestion that I might eat a ghost pepper, but then
no, don't do it, man.
I got talked out of that tree. So
do not do that. You're going to be in the same room with me. I will not let you do it because trust me, you don't want to go through that.
our own version of stupid human tricks.
Right? Yeah. I would imagine that it's possible for it to kill you because it could be such a disturbing experience that your blood pressure can go up too high and it can kill you.
Yeah, not the kind of thing I really want to.
Yeah, we probably don't want Evan to die live on streaming.
No, I
No.
mean, that
Ruin
would
the whole stream.
That would present problems.
Somebody
I know.
asked-
I mean, he'd be lying there on the floor, like, get a broom, move him away. He's in the shot. Get him out.
Steve, somebody asked, will Dickie Wise be there?
Dickie Wise.
Maybe.
Oh my gosh. No, but there will be special stuff going on for the patrons for the 6-hour on May 20th.
Oh, Ian, somebody asked a good question.
Uh-oh.
Are legacy members considered patrons? I mean, yes. They're not
Potentially.
they're not on Patreon, but
No.
the problem that we have is distributing the URL to everybody.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
All right, we will get
We'll
back to
come
you
up
on
with-
that. I'll do everything that we can to make sure you guys
So
are
in
included.
spirit, yes, but we have to work out the technicalities.
But also consider becoming a patron on
Yeah, it's
Patreon.
just so much easier if everybody gets on that platform.
Why not convert that right over to patron?
Convert.
Somebody on there named Courtney
Join
said,
us.
I ate a bit of a ghost pepper, got it in my eye. Don't do it ever.
No,
Evan.
don't do that. No.
Holy shit. How did you get it in your
Hey.
eye?
Oh my gosh, that's like
That's-
a ghost pepper
And
enema.
That
that
is-
squirt
that
out, like you
is
bite into it and
the
it squirts right into your
last-
eye.
Oh, forget
the last
that.
place
No
you
way.
want. That's the last place you want it.
Second to last place you want it.
Well,
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 and that's 6.
I think that's a good time for a PSA. Here, I found some
I'll be right back. Oh, you mean
charming PSAs. No, not that one.
P-
This might be the one that Steve's talking about, although it's British, but we'll see.
Are you British?
We should do this each
British,
week now.
I think.
No, what the
Roll
one
it
I was talking about
all-
was British.
Oh,
You what?
He was stupid.
Yeah, this is
Trying to
it.
prove how tough he was.
oh, there you go.
I'd have got them kids.
Why do you fly a kite?
We thought it would be okay, but the wind changed.
Lucky they let go of it. They'd have been electrocuted.
No,
Should
no.
have told the police.
Suppose he never knew about high voltage electricity.
You're crazy!
He ignored the danger signs.
Leave it there!
He was stupid. He wouldn't come down. He didn't know electricity would go through the kite. It just jumped through thin air.
Climbing pylons can kill. Don't take a chance with electricity.
Oh my God.
Him falling.
What happens?
is
Yeah, I want to see
the
part 2. Where's the impact?
crazy part that they would include that.
That's that. Everything about that is horrible. I mean, I get what they were thinking. We really need to show these kids what can happen because that's exactly. It's either that or it's the Frozen thing where you're just cooking. You know.
Oh, are you guys saying that
Oh,
aired in the United
God.
States? That
Yeah.
PSA?
I don't know. I just found it on the internet.
Okay, because it was
Pretty good.
why like this East London accent PSA in the United States? I don't ever
I
recall
remember seeing
I
I
don't
that.
know
must
that
have
it ever
seen-
did. I didn't say
If
that.
I
but-
remember
would be
seeing
funny.
it, it's because I saw it on the web. I
Yeah, it's got to be the internet.
yeah.
Like whatever that weird show or channel was. Like everything's terrible or something. I found another one that might be redeeming. Here we go.
Oh, good. This is one special.
This is special.
This is crack, rock cocaine. It isn't glamorous or cool or kid stuff. It's the most addictive kind of cocaine, and it can kill you. What's really bad is nobody knows how much it takes. So every time you use it, you risk dying. It isn't worth it. Look, everybody wants to be cool, but doing it with crack isn't just wrong. It could be dead wrong.
It's like he slightly pulled a face at the end.
Right. That's
All right.
exactly what I was.
It's like,
thinking.
why would you?
Why would you have that character do
because
this
of his
serious
audience.
PSA?
Because of
Yeah.
his audience.
I get that, but did nobody else feel or see the disconnect there in a way? I mean, maybe someone should have rethought that. I don't know. You know,
This is like
Paul
using
Rubens
the
came
voice.
on and broke out of the character. He said, "Hi, I'm Paul Rubens. I play this role, and here I'm talking
Right.
about something serious."
Right,
That
right.
I totally get. But in the Pee-wee character doing it, it seems
Exactly.
there's something not right there.
So confusing.
Gosh.
It is. I don't. Yeah, I think it is weird that they. I think that on paper it all looked good. You know, oh yeah, we'll do it because he's got the audience and people will listen to him and they'll, take a moment of seriousness to talk about something super important. But it doesn't work right because everything about Pee-wee is not serious.
Right. Nothing about him is serious. It's just that struck me as so bizarre, so strange. And knitting,
And knitting,
and knitting.
God, I love that so much. Holy shit.
I remember going with my friends to see that movie in the theater. I'm like, we're going to see what and why are we seeing this? It's like, I have no interest in seeing this. And I saw it and I'm like, I was wrong. It was pretty damn funny.
Yeah.
I was actually entertained by that movie.
Yeah, I loved it.
Somebody told me to look up another one. I don't know.
Oh
what
gosh.
I should do.
Well, each week we should
It's,
throw a couple out there.
All right. Well,
MST3K.
Let's
That's
see
the
it.
whole day.
How bad could it be?
Oh, we got another?
Okay.
Uh-oh.
She's got a smile
I'm gonna
that it
slightly mute
seems
this
to
music 'cause it's
me reminds me
no copyright. La 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 la.
memories where everything was as fresh as the bright blue
Why did you send this
sky.
person?
Now and then when I
the
see
tick is
her
good.
face, she takes me away to that special place. And if I stayed too long, I'd probably break down and cry.
Uh-oh. Something bad's going to happen.
Oh, sweet child of mine.
Hi, this is me. You're probably wondering how I got here.
Well,
Can't be
it's a
real.
love story.
With the sound
With
effects.
the squish.
Oh God.
This cannot be real.
Oh, that's terrible.
No, that's
Sweet love of
You can never control the consequences if you speed.
Is that can't be real? I mean, Irish people are crazy, but they can't possibly be doing that.
Now.
That was just awful, right? Like everything about
that can't be legit. Is that legit?
Oh God. When you have kids, something
Yeah,
changes in your brain and you can't see shit like that.
I know. That's why I didn't want to do it. But
all right, gentlemen, I have to go because I hear something happening downstairs. That's bad.
2 rogue children downstairs.
That's right.
Right, Evan? Oh God.
Lord
I
of
have
the
no
Flies,
idea
I'm
what
telling you.
my night from here on out until my kids fall asleep, my night can go one of 2 ways. Right. I'll let your
Half
imagination
disaster,
take
total
over.
disaster.
Yeah. All right, everybody. It was a great talk. It was great to catch up with everyone here. And Courtney, do not put a pepper juice on your finger and touch your eye ever again.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Could you imagine what she went through? She must have been like, I can't imagine how painful that must
You
have
probably
been.
wanted
Like,
to claw your eye out.
her eye must have gotten swollen.
Oh
God.
You'd rather not have an eye at that point of your life.
Correct.
Probably. You'd be like, I really wish I didn't have this eye right now to experience this. That's how bad that is.
Aye. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good one,
Good
Jay.
night, everyone.
Oh, good
Thanks,
night.
Ian.
Right, good
That's
night.
that.
Bye-bye. That's
Bye.
that.
See ya.
Oh,
What?
or
So
Jay
next
Jay
week.
left. Okay.
All right.
Anything else you guys want to say
No.
before we leave? That's it.
That would be have a
That's
safe
it.
weekend.
Have a good weekend.
There you go. All right. Like our
Bye.
TikTok. Goodbye.
As
As soon as I press the
like
button.
our tip.
Skeptic's Guide to the Universe is produced by SGU Productions, dedicated to promoting science and critical thinking. For more information, visit us at theskepticsguide.org. Send your questions to info@theskepticsguide.org. And if you would like to support the show and all the work that we do, go to patreon.com/skepticsguide and consider becoming a patron and becoming part of the SGU community. Our listeners and supporters are what make SGU possible.
Evan. We needed that for Steve's camera.
Yeah, right. Oh gosh. Steve says, "Look at my thing in the background and try to find." I'm like,
Yeah,
you gotta be kidding me. Really? Okay, what? That thing that is probably a book that I can't read.
Yeah. Plus, on our side, it's like 240p. It's like we can't see anything. It's all mush.
I tell you. Now, people who are astute about my background realize I put up some different games. I got Terraforming Mars here on display now. I've got Casserone on Carcassonne on this one, and Machikoro right up here. So I'm gonna switch out some games every few weeks or so. Just give them a little
2 Skeptics Guide books. I like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Hardcover, softcover.
Yep. Still waiting for my autographed copy of Skeptic's Guide to the Future. I better write someone and say, to whom it may concern.
Yeah.
Love your work.
Love it.
Waiting kind of for the copy of the book. Can't wait to read it. Really.
Yeah.
Signed, your co-host. That's all. I guess I'll pen it.
No big deal.
It that way. Oh gosh, Ian. How are things in your world?
All is well.
Good.
Yep. Gotta go give the baby a bath. And other than that, all is good. We've been making TikToks, everybody. Maybe we'll convince Evan to get on a TikTok or 2.
I would love
that.
to.
Would be fun.
I would love
we'll have to schedule some time to do that.
Oh, I could do that.
Yeah. maybe even remotely we could talk about that. But yeah, and other than that, we're prepping for that 6-hour show. Remember, everybody, coming up.
Yes.
We're hoping to do a couple of those throughout the year, some of the longer form shows and patron drives, so to speak. But yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Looking to do some additional things for our patrons who just absolutely are wonderful and continue to support us every turn. And no matter what's going on in their lives, they continue to show us their appreciation, which is super special. Can't thank you enough for that.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, the TikTok numbers are going good. They're a couple of them were really good, and then like it's hit or miss. TikTok is an interesting
Totally
platform.
hit or miss.
You
Oh
know,
gosh,
it's like so weird.
Yeah, I've what little I've seen, because I'm admittedly beyond not even a neophyte when it comes to TikTok. I saw one person had like 6 million views on one of their TikToks, and I'm looking at like their catalog of stuff, 400, 130. Like, so there's no necessarily rhyme or reason to what constitutes what's going to be popular.
We did one.
Or not.
We did one responding to somebody claiming that CERN was a portal into another dimension with like aliens or spirits. That's like, and that's the whole point of CERN. And that one got 140,000 views, and most of the other ones like get several thousand or something, or 20,000. So it's finicky, or you get into the right, the people who want to complain that the Earth is in fact flat, and argue in the chat. So sometimes you just hit it. So if you guys ever come across TikToks or anything on the shorts and stuff, make sure to tag us so we get those, because we like to look through those and decide what's good. Keep at her.
I'm going to answer 2 quick questions before I go.
Do it. Yes.
Stephen Romero, hello, Stephen, wants to know if I ever played a game called Dice Hospital, and yes, I did play that game. Played that both in person, in analog and in digital. You can play it online at Board Game Arena, which is a great place to learn board games, right from your computer. And yeah, I like Dice Hospital a lot. I like those kinds of games in which you're drafting different people, a staff of hospital people to help you perform life-saving surgery in a sense, emergency cases that come through the hospital. You gotta grab them. It's a good it works. It's very well designed and very well thought out. So I like that. The other question from Captain Suave, I say, Captain Suave, so suave. Have you played / reviewed Alien: Fate of the Nostromo? No, we have not. I don't know if that's on our list. I'm having a meeting with my co-hosts of Which Game First, a board game podcast, this weekend. So I will double check and see that, but I'm going to write down these suggestions that you have, and we'll get them on the list. Get them done. We got a lot of games to play this year. We're going to try and get in well over 300 games to try to play this year if possible. We're a little off pace for that right now, but we're going to try to make it up in the summertime when I have some more time after my busy tax stuff. Also, a couple things before we go. I'm going to throw it out there because Steve's not here to tell me not to do it. We are unofficially, we're going to Dragon Con this year. Yep. So we will be at Dragon Con, which is coming up it's a Labor Day weekend, end of August, early September, Atlanta, Georgia. This will be the SGU's official re-venturing to Dragon Con. We haven't been there officially in 4 years. Bob's been 1 or 2 years on his own, but SGU is a group, and we don't have anything lined up yet, but obviously we will. We'll be doing live events. Live SGU will be occurring there. We'll be on the skeptic track, the science track, the science fiction track, and all the places that you usually see us. So if you want to mark your calendars early for that, and you happen to be in the Atlanta, Georgia part of the country, it'd be great to see you in person. And the other thing I was going to mention was, what was the other thing I was going to mention? There was another kind of announcement or something. No. I just want to say this though. If you haven't seen it already, maybe I'll talk about it next week. Go look at the South Park Harry and Meghan clip or episode.
All right.
One that got their knickers in a twist, as they say in England. I think it's the best, like, the scene where they go on the talk show, that 60 seconds, that could be like my favorite South Park 60 seconds of absolute all time. So I'll let you go find it, and then we'll have maybe we can queue it up next week, Ian. I'll write a note to
that would be funny.
so we can talk about it in depth, because I just think it's the most brilliant thing I've ever seen comedy wise.
Yeah,
it's so good. Well, all right. I think that's all for I got today. So
yeah. So wish you do Europe sometime, Copenhagen, Europe, Scandinavia.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Oh my
Come
gosh.
to Canada. Canada should be relatively easy.
I want to get. Yeah, we should get back to Canada.
Eastern
at least
Canada.
Toronto.
Well, that's
at least
Canada's
Toronto.
better.
If not, Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Montreal's not far. And Ottawa.
Nice.
And the Ottawa Skeptics local group are up there.
If
I
you
went
don't,
to
you
visit
oughta.
them one year. No, Canada's definitely a place. More we do like it.
Melbourne.
Being able to travel when we can, as resources
Toronto,
afford, as time affords. So yeah, being out there on the road and in person, and more of those definitely coming. So, but you heard it here first. SGU DragonCon unofficial. Steve couldn't stop me.
That's right.
So
officially unofficial.
That's right.
All right.
All right. That's it. Great. Have a good weekend. I hope to be back next week.
That's right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.